Hey friends, in this video, I'm telling you all about my upcoming documentary film, GX Now. GX Now is the story of government transformation. It's about what governments worldwide are doing in terms of enabling better ways to serve their citizens, their residents. Being able to leverage technology to do things in a different way and being able to really change the way their country works. Now, it sounds really big. It sounds really, you're talking about different countries. And yes, it is. Different countries have different legislation, different systems, different technology adoption curves. And in order to capture what some of the leaders are doing, some of the early adopters are doing, and why did they do it, is to be known so that we, and all of you who are working in the public sector arena, you're supplying to the public sector, you're working with the public sector, you're working with governments, within governments, it becomes essential to understand why some things are done the way they are done. This film is not about politics. It's not about trying to understand who's ruling and who's the president and who's not. It's got nothing to do with it. It's got to do with how are citizens being served, how's the quality of life changing for people in different countries, and how can services be better in the future and going forward. The bedrock of this documentary is a framework that's been coined by the United Arab Emirates, and it's called GX. It's called GX, which stands for Government Experience. And just like you have customer experience, government experience is that experience that customers and clients and residents and citizens get when they interact with government. How do you change that interaction? How do you shape it and mold it in a way where it leads to better results, more happiness, just a better way of doing things, and that interaction is changed. Now, amongst the people and the folks that I interviewed, there's different countries, and I'll tell you about it, but I also interviewed some experts who know exactly what they're talking about. They've done a lot of work, some foresight into what the future holds. So the United Arab Emirates came up with the GX concept, and it's a thought leadership idea that can be adopted by anybody. It can be embraced by anybody. Anybody can do it. It's the way of doing things in government and creating future-ready governance, future-ready government service delivery. And that's what the film is all about. For me, it was a pleasure to film the documentary and be part of that storytelling journey in terms of capturing insights from people, from the experts that have been featured. In this video, I wanted to tell you who those experts are and why did I speak to them and what uniqueness did they bring to this film in terms of story, in terms of insight, and so on. In no particular order, here are the really cool people that I spoke with. So first of all, my really great friend, Marlo Pomp. And Marlo is a Dutch girl. She lives in Amsterdam, and she is the head of blockchain and artificial intelligence for the government of Netherlands. She's incredible at what she does. She's renowned in the field for her expertise and all the work she does for the government of Netherlands, positioning them, figuring out what the next trends are, where technology is headed, and how to use partnerships in order to facilitate dialogue, in order to facilitate progress. I met Marlo in Amsterdam. I went to Amsterdam to film her and to capture this interview, and she shared insights about what government is doing in the Netherlands. How has the Dutch society been served by government entities, and what is the progress that they're making in the Netherlands overall with respect to technology. The Netherlands is really progressive when it comes to tech, and it's home to some of the greatest companies in the world. They're really progressive, they're really adaptable to new things, and they're also very cautious. One thing I like about the Dutch people is they're really straightforward, so that's amazing because we could bring that clarity and insight to the film to what Marlo had to say. I then interviewed Tim Unvan. Tim is a professor at the Royal Holloway University in the UK, and he's also the UNESCO ICTD ambassador. Now, Tim is incredible. He's got decades of experience, and I met him at university grounds at the Royal Holloway University in London, and we spoke about what is happening not just in the UK, but what is happening across the world. Tim does a lot of work across the world, and he's not afraid to tell the truth. It was really great to understand from Tim what is the UK perspective and what is also the global perspective that's shaping governments, where government services are changing, and what can we do to either change governments that are struggling or learn from governments that are part of this big change. I next spoke to my great friend, Professor Dr. Jonathan Reichenthal. Now, Jonathan is the ex-CIO of the city of Palo Alto. He's also the best-selling author of Smart Cities for Dummies. Jonathan is, for me, someone that I can go to for anything when you need it, any kind of information, any kind of insight. He's got a lot of experience managing cities, being the ex-CIO of the city of Palo Alto. He's got a lot of insight on how cities function and how cities are moving forward. And his insights on governments and how governments are functioning and what they should do, that layer of interaction, is really great to hear from him. He's also the author of Smart Cities for Dummies, a new book that has come out. And so that book is all about smart cities and the evolution of smart cities. Jonathan's interview is incredible, and we filmed him in California, and so please watch that interview. I next spoke with Ceyhun Salmanov. Now, Ceyhun works with the State Agency for Public Service and Social Innovations in the Republic of Azerbaijan. So I was in Baku, and I met him, and I spoke to him in great detail about what Azerbaijan was doing. One of the things that Azerbaijan is doing is that they have a really nice public service department called the ASAN, and ASAN operates and manages service centers that offer all kinds of services to residents. Everything's under one roof, and you don't have to go to 50 different places to renew your driver's license, to open your bank account, to do your municipality permits. You name it, it's all there under one roof. And the ASAN service center model is very innovative, it's very unique, it's very conducive to giving citizens peace of mind and ease of utilizing government services. And it was incredible speaking with him. So I spent a day in Baku with him, his team, and it was really nice to see that they're super progressive in terms of government services and a lot to learn from how they're doing things. I then went to Estonia and met really incredible people that admire both of them. I first of all met Sim Sikut. Sim is the government CIO, the Chief Information Officer for the Republic of Estonia, and he manages everything that happens with Estonia and technology. And he, being the CIO, he's at the top of making those technology decisions. Anything to do with technology, he's the person to go to. Now, Estonia is very famous for being technologically forward, and they've had this journey over the last couple of decades. Their infrastructure is amazing, their government services are all digital, and that's why we have to learn from Estonia. That's why we need to figure out what is Estonia doing that we all can do, other governments can do. And there's a lot of learning from what Sim says. It was really good to see him. I then met my friend Ot Vater. He used to be the ex-managing director of e-residency in Estonia. And e-residency Estonia is all about giving citizens the services they need digitally, enabling those e-residency citizen cards, the global worker program where anybody across the world can become an e-resident of the country of Estonia and leverage the fact that it's part of the EU and facilitate ease of business. So Ot shared some really great insights on what they've been doing under the e-residency umbrella, why it's important, how they did things, what's the history of the things they did, and so on. So these two were also incredible interviews that I had the opportunity to conduct. I next met Jane Weissman. Now, Jane is the CEO of the Institute for Excellence in Government, and she's also a fellow at the Harvard Kennedy School in the States. Jane brings a lot of Western American perspective into the picture, and we interviewed her in Boston, and she brought in the idea about what is happening in America, what's happening in the West, what needs to happen. And she brings a really nice policy background, a really nice implementation in the West kind of background as to what are the challenges and what are the opportunities. Jane is really knowledgeable. She knows it all. And so it was humbling as well as really amazing to interview her and ask her some questions, and she's shared a lot of perspective in the film. Now, in order to bring a different perspective to the film, I mean, we're talking government experience, we did want to learn a little bit more from the retail side of things, because retail always is synonymous with good customer service. And so we interviewed Mr. Baijani. He's the CEO of Majd Al Futtaim Holdings Group in the United Arab Emirates, and they are part of a multinational, huge conglomerate, managing multiple different malls, different stores, and they're huge. They're huge. He really brought in the perspective of, here's what's happening in retail. This is what's happening on the retail side of things, in not just in the Middle East, but across the world, and this is what governments should adapt and learn and do all of those things. And so Elaine's interview was conducted in Dubai. We really had a great time talking to him and understanding what the perspective is and how governments can learn from the retail side. I next interviewed the Chief of Government Services for the United Arab Emirates. I interviewed Mohammed Bintalia, who heads government services for the UAE. Mohammed's interview is about understanding the concept of GX, why government experience, what does it bring to the table? As part of that, what can the world, governments across the world collaborate on, understand, learn, share, and together progressively go to another destination which is better for everybody, which is good for citizen engagement and all of that. And that was a really great interview. We conducted that interview in Dubai at the Prime Minister's office building at Emirates Tower. I also spoke with two incredible entrepreneurs and gentlemen from the UAE business community. One, Fadi Hindi, he's the founder and CEO of a company called AlgoFi AI, and they're into AI. And we wanted to understand from Fadi, what is it that technology is bringing to the equation when it comes to government services? Working with governments, working with the private sector, Fadi was able to bring in a lot of insight on this is what the private sector and government interaction is looking like, and how technology can shape that going forward. Last but not least, I spoke with McLean, who is Group CEO of the Traffic Group in the UAE, entrepreneur, and really knows a lot about the local market in the UAE. So I wanted to get some perspective from him about what's happening at a local, regional level, as well as at a broader level. And so all of these folks, all of these people that I interviewed in the film together have shared a tremendous amount of insight. I've been able to condense it all in a documentary called GX Now, where we're getting to understand what is happening across the world. Why are governments doing the things they're doing? What is the way to move forward in order to create governments that are efficient and are able to provide citizen services to citizens and residents and make their lives better? As we progress into the future, the next 2, 5, 10, 20 years, experts say that artificial intelligence will have a profound impact on what we do. It'll have a profound impact on governments, efficiency, workers, remote work, and a bunch of other things. And we need to start understanding it now. How are we moving forward? What are we doing now so that the future looks better? The future of the next generation looks better. And that's what we need to do right this second. If you want to be part of change, my friends, then you've got to be part of change. You can't sit on the sidelines and hope everything turns out to be okay. The best way to do that, to be part of change, is to be part of conversations that are about change, where you can discuss, where you can talk, where you can exchange your ideas, where you can hear somebody's perspective and try and understand where is that coming from. One of the things we absolutely have to do today and moving forward is to open up our minds, is to open up ourselves to a new perspective. And the world is becoming a smaller place. The world is becoming much smaller because now organizations and companies are global. Now the impact of social media is not just on one country, but across the world. And it's very easy to get impacted by events happening in one place and the other place gets impacted too. There are so many things governments can do together. There are so many things governments can collaborate on and learn from each other and make lives of people better and govern efficiently. I hope you enjoyed this documentary. It's going to be available starting January 21st, 2021 on Amazon Prime in various different territories. It'll be in Amazon Prime US. It's rolling out to other countries. It's available in Germany. It'll be available in Spanish and Arabic, and it's rolling out in the next few months to across the world on Amazon Prime Video. It's also going to be on YouTube and Vimeo and other platforms and devices where you can watch it. So watch it at your workplace, watch it at your home, send it to your colleagues, send it to your peers. And if you need any help with screenings at events or anything else, then please let us know. For more information on the film, visit www.gxnow.com. Take care, and thanks for watching.